everyone, my name is Julia and on this channel I show you how you can make your own clothes. Today I'll show you how you can make this shirt. I chose a rather summery, airy version for this one, so I also used a bigger size than I normally do. So normally I have the size 38 or 40, and for this one I chose 42. But of course you can also do like a proper men's shirt. So for example, this one was actually the first one that I sewed. This is, a men's shirt out of corduroy. Yes, so if you have any questions, write them in the comments. And if not, then I would say we get started.
Okay, so the first step is that you need to get the pattern, and you can get it from my website. The link is in the video description, and here you can see some more images of the final shirt. And you have to decide on a size. And here you see the size chart with the body measurements, and you see as well the measurements of the finished garments. And check just which size you want to have, and if you want to have it oversized, do 1 or 2 bigger. And here you can also see reviews from people who have already sewn the shirt, and also images where you can find a little inspiration if you like to. And yes, once you have downloaded the zip file, there are 3 files included. One is the instruction. Here you can find general information. I would recommend you reading it before buying fabric, so that you have all the information that you need. Then we have the sewing pattern itself. We have an overview of the single pages that you have to print and glue together and then cut out. And really important, when you print them, you have to do size 100%, so no scaling. So we really want the actual size, and to assure that the size is correct, you can print the third page, which is the first page of the actual sewing pattern, and here then compare the centimeters to the centimeters. And if this is correct, then print the rest. And here are the scissors, so only cut the lines where the scissors are. And for the other lines in gray, there you can put the different pieces together. Once you have cut out everything and attached together, then there is the layout plan. So this shows how you have to place the different pattern pieces on your fabric. And for the bigger sizes, you can't put everything on the fold. So there are 2 possibilities. Either you can do it like this, so you put the pieces which have to be cut out on the fold on newspaper. It's also possible, just any kind of paper, and then cut it and glue them together, and then you have like one complete piece. If you need to make some adjustments, we can lengthen the shirt, and therefore we have to draw a horizontal line, and we want to get more or less the biggest size, biggest part where the hip is, more or less, And here we have to draw a horizontal line, and it's easier if you start at the left, exactly here, because then you can do your 90-degree angle, and then draw it with a pen, and then cut it so that you have 2 separate pieces divided by a straight line. And then you can glue one piece. I started with the lower piece on any kind of paper, and mark the 4 centimeters. So here in this example, I wanted to make the shirt longer by 4 centimeters. So I marked the 4 centimeters in a parallel line, and then connect it and draw this line. And then you can just glue the other piece exactly on this line, and then here make a nice and smooth curve to connect these 2 pieces. And then just cut off the rest of the paper that you do not need. And then you have lengthened your shirt, at least the back part, by 4 centimeters. And the exact same thing you have to do for the front part as well. So that the front and the back part matches up. And more or less the same is what you do when you have to shorten your shirt. So if it's too long and you want to make it shorter, then I always write on my sewing pattern piece what I do. So 3 centimeters shorter, that when you look at it 1 year later, that you know what you have done compared to the original pattern piece. And here I also mark more or less 2 centimeters above the lower piece where the curved line ends, but it doesn't really matter. It just has to be more or less on the widest side. And here also cut it, and then I did write it again because you will not see the first one. And here I also did mark 3 centimeters, for example. I want to make it 3 centimeters shorter, and then I glue the piece to the main, so lower piece to the main piece, and I match up the left side. So here it should match up, and on the right side, if there's a little, so here for me in my example, it does match up as well, pretty good. But if not, you can just make a smooth curve as well. If you have to lengthen your sleeve, it's basically the exact same process. So first write the amount of centimeters that you want to shorten or lengthen your sleeve, in this case 4 centimeters longer. And then I also want to have a straight line because the sleeve at the bottom is also not straight. So we want to make a straight line, really close to the end of the sleeve. So mark here a straight line. Then I did cut it. And here, when you cut it, make sure that, you glue the pattern pieces together, because if not, then maybe you just have different pieces. And here I also saw that I have to put on more glue. Yes. Okay, then when we have 2 pieces, then I did glue 1 piece again to the paper. And then I marked the 4 centimeters as a straight line. And here I also marked the end of the actual pattern, so before the seam allowance starts, so that I know where exactly I have to align my little end piece. And then I align it and glue it to the paper. And then I also want a smooth curve, so the body doesn't have any edges. So, first thing we have to shorten our the cut that we will do for the sleeve as well by 4 centimeters. So do not cut too much, shorten it by 4. And then we make a smooth curve so that, we really have no edges in our body. So you also don't want any edges on our sewing pattern. So just make a smooth curve. And then, glue everything together and do it for the other side as well. And then we can just cut the rest of the paper that we do not need and make a smooth curve here again on the left side. And once we have done this, we can also just cut the rest of the paper that we do not need. Perfect. This is how it should look. And now you have made your sleeve 4 centimeters longer. If you want to shorten your sleeve, it is basically nearly the same step. So I just cut off the 4 centimeters that we just lengthened our sleeve, because we want to shorten it. So this is how we start normally. We cut the line and then we mark the 4 centimeters that we want to shorten, or whatever amount you want to shorten your sleeve. Draw a line and then place the lower part on the top part at this line and match it up here at these cuts and the pleats. So this should match up, and it will, so the ends, left and right end, will not match up with the rest. You can see it here really clearly, and it's okay like this. So we just have to draw also here a smooth line to the rest of the sleeve, and try to go in 90-degree angle at the bottom when you start, and then we just want a smooth curve. And then we can also cut this here, and then we have shortened our sleeve. Congrats. Important step. Of course, we also have to make the cut 4 centimeters longer, because we shortened the sleeve and we want the cut to be the exact same length. So we have to extend the 4 centimeters. Now we have shortened our sleeve, and once every pattern pieces are prepared, we can cut them out. So I used size 42, so I folded the whole fabric once, and then placed all the things that I need to cut out on the fold on the left side. And I did cut out everything. Again, if you sew a bigger size, then you either can fold the fabric multiple times and just cut everything on the fold, or you double your pieces, which have to be cut out on the fold on paper, and then cut out all the pieces in once. then once we have cut out all the pieces, we need the interfacing for the collar, the bar, and 2 of the 4 cuffs. And therefore, I have this interfacing, which you can just iron onto your pieces. And on one side, you have these little dots or little bubbles. And this side needs to be placed to the left side of your fabric. So here I placed the left side on top of these little bubbles. And then I did cut out all of my pieces, 2 of the cuffs and the collar, and 1 collar and 1 bar. Yes, just make sure that it lays flat, and that you, cut properly. And then you have to iron it. And here, again, make sure this outer, so here, the right side of the fabric is looking to the other way, and the left side of the fabric is facing your interfacing. And once you have ironed it, then it also, the structure will change a little bit, so it gets a little bit stiffer, which is nice for collar, sleeve, etc. Okay, then we start with the sleeves. And here the left side is the front and the right side is the back. This is really important. We need to keep this in mind. You can also see it because the back has a little bit more, the curve is more slightly, and for the front it's a little bit steeper. Okay, and as a next step, we will mark, these little marks where we will do the pleats later on. And also for this long one, we have to cut it because this will be the opening of our sleeve. So here I mark the end of this line with a pin, and then I use my tailor's chalk to mark the point, and I do the straight line to the end of the notch which I made, and this one I will cut a straight line here. And for the other ones I'll mark them because for the pleats we will need these marks later. And then I mark the front with a yellow pin and the back part with a red pin so that I know this later on. Okay, now we prepare the upper and the lower edging. So for the first one, this is the rectangle, and here we fold 1 centimeter of the short edge to the inside, left side on left side. So here at the moment, the right side is laying on the table. And as you can't really see it so good with the black fabric, I redid it with the pink one. The next step is to fold the long edges inside also by 1 centimeter. So they should touch each other, and then you again fold it in half so that you have like one long, fabric thing. So once again, slowly, we have at a first step, the short edge folded in by 1 centimeter. Then the long edges also inside to 1 centimeter, and then we fold again in half. And this we do twice for both of these parts. And then we also have the other edging part, which has a little bit more strange look. Here also the right side is facing the table. And here on the left side, we fold 1 centimeter inside. I also show you here for my pink fabric. 1 centimeter inside, and then the same as we did for the others, also for the long edge, folded 1 centimeter inside, and also of course iron it. Every step you have to iron it. This is how it looks now. 1 centimeter is folded to the inside, and then we flip it over so that the edges are lining up. So then you have this kind of, it looks like this. And the next step is what we do. We have this little corner, more or less, in the upper left corner. And here we go 1 centimeter down and 1 centimeter right. And there we will mark a little cross with our tailor's chalk. And there we will cut diagonal. Sorry. So we will make a little cut, 45 degrees down. I'll show you here. So 1 centimeter down, 1 centimeter to the right, and then we will cut this. I think it looks kind of complicated, but when you have the fabric in front of you, then it's way more easier. And then you have these 2 little fabric thingies, and we fold them to the rest of the fabric. I'll show you also for the pink one. So here I did the little cut, and then we fold it over to the right or to the bottom. Yes, and then we are actually ready. We fold it again back in half, and then we have both of the edgings, the upper and the lower, prepared correctly for our sleeve. Ta-da! Okay, so now we have these lower edgings, the upper edging, also twice. You have to do it like vice versa for the other side. And then we start with the sleeve. So again, here left side is the front and right side is the back, the sleeve that we have just had in the beginning. And we will apply these edgings to our sleeve. And the more complicated one will be placed on the left side, and the one which was a rectangle in the first place is on the right side. And here we will place it, so we will open the sides, and then pin it to this cut, basically. And we will just open the long side, the long edge. The short one that we folded in as a first step we will let it just like this. And for the other side, we will pin the side which is longer to our opening. Yeah, and here also make sure that the first centimeter, this one is folded to the inside, so don't open this one up. And for the other side, same. And then we sew exactly on this edge that you see because we ironed the 1 centimeter. Okay, pretty good. So this is how it should look like now. And the next step is that we flip the rectangle over and fold it to the wrong side, basically, of our sleeve, and pin everything in place and then top stitch it. And here again, iron it first. This will definitely help you to keep the shape. So this, I didn't sew it yet, I just ironed it, and it already, lies really nice and flat. So definitely don't forget to iron, and then pin, and then sew. Okay, now the right side is attached. Now we are doing more or less the same thing with the left side. So here also we flip it over, and here make sure to fold the fabric so that the first stitch that we've sewn is not longer visible, and iron this one. This is how it looks once you have ironed it over. So no more stitch visible on the left side of your fabric, of your sleeve. And then mark 1 centimeter down of the end of the rectangle edging, basically. And then once and also mark it on the top of the upper edging. So here. And then we will sew all this way up. And here also we will make a crisscross, basically. So this is, I think the style to really fix the edging on top. And also this is how sleeves are done. So I didn't really question it, but I did it for my sleeve as well. And then I pinned everything together and I top stitched it, and I did it really close to the border basically. And as we fold it on the left side, our fabric, so that the seam isn't visible, we are also sure that we will, get the edging on the other side. And then we will sew all this way up. And then we will do the cross. And here also let the needle inside of your fabric, lift the foot, then turn your fabric here, and then place your foot again down, and so on and so on. But important, when you lift the foot, make sure that the needle is deep down inside your fabric. Okay, perfect. So this is how it should look now. You can remove the pin and you can open it up, and it should look really clean on the outside and also clean finish, no raw edges on the inside. Now the next step is that we sew our pleats. Therefore, I once again show you the marks more clearly. And then we need to make the pleat. So we need to flip the left side or the left mark to the right mark, so that we have a pleat where you can like grab in just from right to left. So this is how the pleat should look like. And then you can also arrange the rest of the fabric and pin it together. And the same for the second two parts, the second pleat basically, and also mark it with a pin. And then we will sew over this little part to fix the pleat, and so that everything is in place and nothing can move. Perfect. This is how it should look like now. You have two pleats next to the slit or the opening of your sleeve. So this is nearly your first sleeve finished. Actually pretty good work. I know this was pretty tough. We do now the exact same thing for the other side. So here, but everything has to be mirrored. So here, like the rectangular edging is on the left and the other one is on the right, and then repeat all the steps, rewatch the video and do the second sleeve. If you have any question, write it as a comment to the YouTube video. And then you basically have your two sleeves and you can already be really proud. We continue with the cuffs. Here we have two with facing and two like normal ones. And here for the normal ones, we fold 1 centimeter to the inside. So left side to left side. Here the right side is laying on the table. This is how it should look like now. We just want to fold it and iron it. And then we place right side on right side of these cuffs and pin everything together and sew the 3 edges, so left, top, right, but not the straight one below where we just folded the 1 centimeter over. So this is how it should look, and now this we are going to sew. Here you can again see the 1 centimeter which is folded and ironed over. Okay, this is how the cuff should look now. Before we turn it, we want to cut these edges because we want to have a cleaner look on the finished garment. So cut the excess fabric or trim the excess fabric and then make little cuts for the round parts so that it's easier to turn, and just make slight cuts. So make sure not to touch the seam that we've just sewn. And once you have done this, you can turn your cuff and iron it again, and then the cuff is also prepared for the sleeve. Yeah, you do have to, of course, do this twice. And then this is already prepared. And we can continue with the front piece, or the 2 front pieces. So this is how it should look now. And for the long edge, so for the center, we are doing the center, the button line, and therefore first we fold in 1 centimeter. So here again the right side is laying on the now not anymore so now the right side is laying on the table, and we fold 1 centimeter, so that left side is covering left side. And then we also want to cut a 3 centimeters a stripe, which is 3 centimeters wide basically, and the length of our of the front piece, so of all the button line. I'm not sure if this is the right word. And now we place the little dots, which will then connect with the fabric through the heat onto our fabric, so facing this left side. And I place it exactly in the edge that I've just created, because I ironed this 1 centimeter over, so 1 centimeter away from the center front. And then iron everything. This is how it should look like. And once it's ironed, you can also see I little messed up the end, but this doesn't really matter. And then again, flip it over for 3 centimeters. So exactly for the edge of the interfacing. And then iron it again. And once everything is ironed and lays nice in place, then we will also top stitch it, so really close 1 centimeter or 2 next to the edge. Perfect. This is how it should look like by now. We have this really nice line where we later place the button and the buttonholes, and this we have to do a second time. So again, fold in by 1 centimeter, then cut the 3 centimeter stripe. And then we have already prepared the sleeves, which is by far the most difficult part, I would say, at least, and the front piece is already prepared. So we will continue in video 2, but you already did a great job. If you followed until now, you can really be proud of yourself, and see you in part 2 for the shirt.